The soft aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the cozy cafe as morning sunlight poured through the glass windows. Emma, a hard-working single mother, had finally managed to get a small break from her double shifts at the bakery. Her daughter Lily, a bright-eyed 5-year-old, sat beside her, swinging her legs and playing with a muffin. They shared quiet laughter, something rare but precious. Emma's life hadn't been easy. Since her husband's passing 3 years ago, she had been doing everything she could to give Lily a normal life. But that day, as they sat together, something extraordinary was about to happen. The doorbell chimed, and a tall, well-dressed man walked in. His presence commanded attention, sharp eyes, calm confidence, and a heavy aura of authority. He was none other than Daniel Hayes, the young millionaire CEO of a renowned real estate empire. Everyone in the cafe turned to glance at him, but he seemed lost in thought, as if burdened by something unseen. He moved to the counter to place his order when suddenly, Lily's innocent voice broke the silence. "Mom, that's him," she said, pointing her little finger toward Daniel. Emma looked confused. "Who, sweetheart?" she asked softly. "That's the man from my dream," Lily whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Emma froze. She smiled awkwardly, embarrassed by her daughter's words, and tried to quiet her down, but Lily's gaze remained fixed on the man. Daniel, overhearing the child's voice, turned around. Their eyes met, his and the little girl's, and for a moment, time stood still. Something in her innocent expression hit him deep within his chest. A strange sense of familiarity washed over him, but he couldn't explain it. He hesitated before walking closer. "Did you say you dreamed about me?" he asked gently. Lily nodded, completely unafraid. "You were sad in my dream," she said. "You were sitting alone, looking at a picture." Daniel blinked, taken aback. He hadn't told anyone, but for weeks he had been dreaming of a woman and a child, faces blurry, yet the same emotions, loneliness and longing, lingered when he woke up. Now, standing before this little girl, those same emotions returned with haunting clarity. Emma apologized quickly. "I'm so sorry, sir." She has a wild imagination. But Daniel smiled faintly. "No need to apologize," he said, though his voice carried a tremor. "Sometimes children sense things adults can't." They talked briefly, and Daniel learned that Emma worked nearby. Before leaving, he gently placed his business card on the table. "If you ever need anything, Miss Emma," she replied softly. "Emma Clark." He nodded. "Nice to meet you, Emma. And you too, little dreamer." Then he walked away, but something about that encounter refused to leave his mind. Later that night, Daniel sat in his penthouse, staring at an old photo he always kept on his desk, of a woman who once saved his life years ago during a car accident in a small town. She had pulled him from the wreck before collapsing herself. He had never been able to find her afterward, and guilt had haunted him ever since. The woman in that photo looked strikingly similar to Emma. Could it be her? His heart pounded at the thought. The next morning, he returned to the cafe, pretending it was coincidence. But when he saw Emma helping customers with a tired smile and Lily drawing near the window, his doubts grew stronger. He approached her gently. "Emma, have we met before?" he asked. She looked puzzled, then surprised when he mentioned the accident years ago. Her eyes widened with recognition. "I remember that night," she said slowly. "You were unconscious. I called for help, but I thought you didn't make it." Daniel's eyes softened. "You saved my life," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "I've been searching for you for years." Emma couldn't believe what she was hearing. Life had been cruel since that night. Her husband had died shortly after in another tragedy, and she had struggled ever since. Tears welled up in her eyes. "I didn't think anyone even remembered," she whispered. Daniel shook his head. "I owe you everything." Just then, Lily tugged at Emma's sleeve. "Mommy, I told you he was the man from my dream," she said with a proud smile. Both adults looked at her in amazement. Daniel knelt to meet Lily's eyes. "And what else did you see in your dream, little one?" She giggled. "You gave Mommy flowers and said we'd never be sad again." The words pierced through him like a gentle promise. He looked at Emma, who was blushing yet smiling faintly. In that moment, the cafe felt warmer, quieter, as if destiny itself had paused to watch. Daniel realized this wasn't coincidence. Sometimes life takes everything from you before giving you something you never knew you needed. For years, he had built empires, earned millions, but felt empty inside. Now, in the presence of a simple woman and her little girl, he felt whole. He didn't know what the future would bring, but he knew one thing for sure: he wasn't walking away this time. As the day ended, he offered Emma a ride home. They drove through the golden sunset, laughter filling the air. Lily leaned forward from the back seat and said, "Mommy, I think my dream is coming true." Emma smiled through her tears, and Daniel's heart softened in a way it hadn't in years. Maybe fate had waited for the right time, for him to be ready to love again, not with power or wealth, but with sincerity.